Hello dear traders, welcome to the weekly review of Trading Hero. This week all portfolios showed profits. Let's start from the 5K portfolio in the first version. The profit is 0.6%. 5K portfolio version 2 brought us 0.76%. 5K portfolio version 3 0.5%. 10K portfolio version 1 also 0.5%. 10K portfolio version 2 0.26%. 10K portfolio version 3 also 0.5%, 20K portfolio 0.4%, 50K portfolio 0.4%, 100K portfolio 0.4%, and 200K portfolio almost 0.5%. Let's switch to the MetaTrader platform and check our performance on these charts. We are on the hourly time frame of the Australian dollar to Canadian dollar. Each vertical line separates one trading day, and with the gray rectangle we highlighted the trading area of the current week. Speaking about the performance of this currency pair, it updated the previous local highs twice, but despite the fact that we were in the upper part of this movement during the first part of the week, starting from Wednesday, the price began to decline, and at the end of the week, we fell down to the previous local support level. If we look at the global picture on a daily time frame, we're gonna see that this currency pair is in a long-term downtrend. So that's why it's not surprising that the price started to decline, considering that previously we had 8 growing days in a row, which means that the price was locally overbought. So if we check our trades, we can see that this week we closed all the selling trades we were holding from the previous week. We also managed to open a couple of new selling trades, and we also have a couple of buying trades. The profitability of this week is $558, and now we're expecting for the price to break this previous support level and move towards the previous local lows. Let's switch to the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. Here we can see that the price continues to consolidate in quite a narrow range. That's why we didn't have many trades opened this week. We closed some trades from the previous week and opened a couple of selling trades at the second part of this week. The profit of this week is $88, and on a global time frame we can see that the price is still in a very narrow consolidation, I would say even on a very narrow ascending channel, but globally it is a consolidation. So the next currency pair is Australian dollar to the US dollar. As we can see, this upward movement that we saw the last week with these rising highs and rising lows, it actually ended because despite the fact that we updated new local highs, we didn't manage to go further, and starting from Tuesday we can see that selling impulses began to gain their strength, and I think that this can be a start of the local downward movement. The profit of this week is $53, and the global situation is following. We really have a global uptrend, but considering the fact that previously we reached the previous local highs, but then after US bombed Iran, we can see that all currencies against dollar started to grow, and the Australian dollar is not an exception, so that's why we had this additional movement. But now geopolitical situation is plus minus stable, so we can expect that the price will continue moving in the direction it was supposed to move the previous week. So far we don't have many trades. All of the trades that we have are selling trades, so hopefully that we're gonna see this downward movement and close all our trades with a profit. The next currency pair is Euro against the British pound. This currency pair is in a local uptrend, and as we can see, this pair managed to establish a couple of new local highs, and we still continue to grow. We managed to close a couple of selling trades this week. Our profit is $45, and on the global time frame we can see that the nearest resistance level is close to 0.8760. So we still have this upward momentum, and maybe the price will reach this resistance level, and from this level it may begin its correction. Still we have enough of money to open new selling trades, to average these positions, and to wait for the correction. Let's switch to the British pound against the US dollar. I think this is the most interesting currency pair for us. So we can see that on Tuesday we gained a new local high, but after that the price started to decline. And this is really good news because we were very close to our stop loss at 1.39. But after the news release on Wednesday, we had US unemployment rate, then we had non-farm payrolls on Thursday. We can see that the price started to decline and we didn't break through the previous local lows, meaning that the reaction on this news is positive for us. It means that it's negative for the British pound, so hopefully this momentum will continue, and now we're close to the level of 300% on equity for our GBP USD 11 algorithm. We still need to cover more than 5,000 pips to close all our trades with profit, so we're gonna wait for market to decrease. If we check the global picture on a monthly time frame, we'll see that June was the 5th month of consecutive growth for this currency pair. And if you check the historical performance, we see that we had this situation only in 2021. We had 5 months with growth, after we got 1 month of decline, then also we had 2 months of growth, but the local highs were not higher than the previous ones, and then we started to decline. And another situation was in 2009 when we had 5 growing candles in a row. Obviously it was a reaction after the crisis of 2008, and actually after this price also began to decline. So hopefully this pattern will work well this time and we're going to close our trades with a profit. Speaking about the daily picture, we can see that we are still in an uptrend, so it means that the probability of further growth did not disappear, but we are ready for this scenario. And speaking about the volatility, you can see that this week we had a candle of almost 1%. Previously we had another candle of almost 1%. It means that we have sellers in the market, and these sellers are actually willing to push the price. But unfortunately, at the beginning of the previous week, when the US bombed Iran, we can see that the price started to grow, and actually it broke the structure we were waiting to work for us 2 weeks ago. Hopefully this time we're gonna get what we were expecting and close all our trades with profit. The next currency pair is GBP CAD. Here we can see this huge decline that almost covered all this growth that we were facing 2 previous weeks. And it's logical because globally, if we check GBP CAD on the monthly chart, we can see that current prices are the highest since 2017. So we are on the price levels of 2016, which means that the number of potential sellers is quite high. And to send the market, which has been growing for almost 3 years starting in August 2022, we need to get only small push or some kind of a shift in fundamentals from GBP or US. Hopefully we're gonna get them soon. On the hourly time frame, we can see that most of the trades that we have, they are buying trades. So in case of the decline, we're gonna be averaging these trades and closing them on the correction from the previous local support level. The profit of this week is $123. The next currency pair is USD CAD. We didn't have any close trades on this pair. We continue to decline. Actually, we can see that we bounced off the previous support level, but we didn't make any new local highs, so it means that this week was kind of a consolidation because we spent it in the range of 2 previous weeks. And on the daily time frame, we can see that we are really close to the previous local low. Considering that we have this descending channel, I think that the most probable scenario is further decline towards the previous local lows. And the last currency pair for today is New Zealand to Canadian dollar. On the hourly time frame, you can see that we are in a very narrow corridor, and this week was not an exception. We continued moving in this corridor. We were trying to break through the previous resistance level, but buyers didn't manage to hold their positions, and now we can see that price came back to the middle of this channel. It's hard to predict what will happen next week. We expect for the correction. Obviously we needed to close our selling trades that we are holding since April, and on the daily time frame we can see that the price started to decline after it reached local highs in March. This week we had the retest of previous local highs and it was unsuccessful, so the price started to decline. So actually wait for this downward channel to develop next week. So far, this is all information I wanted to share with you. Hopefully our trades with British pound will be closed soon. I cannot promise it will happen next week, but if we'll continue moving in the same pace, I think in a couple of weeks we'll be able to reach this price and close all our trades with a profit. So far there is nothing we can do. We have only to wait. We have our stop loss, we have our take profit, so let the market do its work. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next video.